Hello and welcome back to Championship Manager Years, and as you can see, we're from the top of the bar. We're now at the 7th of May, so we're right at the end of the season now. I've played through those last 10-11 games in the league just to get to this point. There is a little bit of explanation to, but before we do that, we'll take a look at the sort of the form we've shown. In fact, what we'll do, we'll jump into England first, just because there's been, I think, one game, maybe two. Let's see. Italy, I think, were we here for that? We saw the Italy game, yes we did, I think. So we had the Bulgaria game, a good 2-0 win. Robbie Fowler grabbing both the goals in that game. Hristo Stoichkov off the bench, couldn't really do anything. He's at Parma, obviously on a bit of a resurgence back in Serie A now in real life. Jordan Lechkov's at Hamburg. Balakov is still at Stuttgart. Yeah, so good team there. Good result, probably not the force they were, and we should have been winning that game anyway. But we've had a good run of friendlies. I think we only lost to Germany in that first game. We're undefeated since, a couple of draws, but we bounced back. We found a system that works for us, and it seems to be working pretty well. A few injuries in and around mean the team is looking a little bit different. So we'll be interested to see who we do take to the Euro 96 as the final squad. I think we do have to trim it down a little bit still as well. I think one or two have to drop out. So again, it'll be interesting to see who we do, who makes the cut and who doesn't. If we go to Wolves, so the last fixture we played, I think, was the cup final against Everton. Just looking at my notes to see, no, because we started today against Tranmere. Oh no, it's the FA Cup semi-final against Norwich. So yeah, of course it was, yeah, because we got the final today, which is part of where we're at today. So we started with a good 3-0 win against Tranmere, away from home. Peter Smith, Sean McCarthy and Graham Tomlinson getting the goals. Tomlinson stepping in because Leonenko is still injured. I think he was injured at the end of the last episode. But yeah, a good result in this game. Probably a bit of a snatch and grab actually, but we weren't really troubled. It was a comfortable win in the end. Slightly less comfortable was the Portsmouth game. And both teams just went for this in like the last few minutes of the game. We managed to come out on top 3-2 winners, Sean McCarthy getting 2 and Mark Atkins. If we look at the instance, so they equalised on... No, they took the lead, I think. So yes, they took the lead initially at 32. We equalised on 40. And then they took the lead on 81. And then at 84 and 86, we grabbed 2 more goals to sneak the win 3-2. And it's a much needed win. At the time, we were still just hovering outside the playoffs. So yeah, much needed win. We then played Leicester, who were top of the table at the time. Somehow we come out of this with a 1-1 draw. I don't know how, because I thought on the balance of the game, it felt like they absolutely peppered us for 90 minutes. They only had 2 shots on target and 7. We had more shots, but it felt like we were under the cosh for the whole game. A good capacity, good attendance there as well. And Mark Atkins has actually worked his way back into the team. His rating is coming back up. He's grabbed a couple of goals, but I felt we just needed a defensive player in that midfield just to sit alongside. I mean, it was Bowyer, but we had an injury to Rankin on the right, so we put Bowyer on the right and we brought in, obviously Murphy was in the middle, so he replaced Bowyer essentially. But we've kind of stuck with that shape, keeping the defensive midfielder in the middle. We then played West Brom, and unfortunately we did succumb to a 1-0 loss here. We just couldn't score. Again, I felt like we were certainly in the game. To lose was a bit harsh, but we did 1-0, and it sort of brought us back down to earth with a bump, really. We then faced third place Crystal Palace. Again, a really good result here to come away with a 1-1 draw. Nigel Martin in goal, of course. Some great players there. They've got James Beattie. Is he on loan? No, they bought him from Blackburn. He's doing okay. Yeah, so a really good result here to snatch a draw. A draw was probably the fair result on the balance of the game. They did feel like they were going to come back and grab a goal late on to win the game and snatch it, but we held out, and yeah, at Molineux, great result to get a 1-1 draw there. We then had Stoke, who were 23rd in the table. We made hard work of this game. We get the 3-2 win in the end, but yeah, there was 3 goals in 3 minutes in this game, but as you can see, they scored a good percentage of their shots, so they were very clinical. Fortunately, we had enough about us to get the win, but they took the lead on 15 minutes. We equalised on 31 through McCarthy. Before we then took the lead through Atkins, before they equalised with Gleghorn on 59-60, and then Lee Bowyer on 61. And then nothing else really happened for the rest of the game. We saw 3-2, and well, we needed that win, very much so. We then took on Ipswich, who were hovering just outside the relegation places. They were like 18th, 19th, 17th, something like that. They were, yeah, 18th, 19th maybe. They were like a place or two above the bottom four. We managed to grab, again, a very tight 2-1 here. McCarthy's been playing did a few bad games. He's got 20 assists, 20 goals and 22 assists. So he's having a good season despite his average rating, but he's just had a couple of games where he's been a bit off the boil as we're going into the key part of the season. So not ideal, but a very tense game this week. Just held out. I mean, we deserved to win the game by far more than we did, and it felt that way as well. And the first half, most of those were probably in the first half. The first half we were absolutely rampant. Second half they got their goal, and it was just a bit of a holding on job. So that brings us to here, Sheffield United. This is the last game of the season. Now, as it stood, we'll show you the league table in actual fact. We have to go out and in. You can't just click on the links, unfortunately. So yeah, we're in. But I was thinking we're going to be bringing this. There's a chance we could go up a few places. We could even slip down a few places. Or it can drop out the playoffs. But it would all come down to the last game of the season. And obviously it did. But the teams that were around us, below us, whatever, a lot of them have played already. So Charlton have already played. Oldham have already played. Sunderland, Reading. No one can catch us. So we've got the playoff spot sealed. Derby and Leicester are still... Oh, Leicester have got one game left to snatch top spot. Derby with 100 goals to not win the league would be ridiculous. But it could happen. But yeah, we've got one game here against Sheffield United, who are also playing for survival. If they win, they need a win to get out and drop Grimsby down into the relegation. So Southend have gone, unfortunately. Sorry, Ted. Stoke are down. Fall from grace. Obviously, Real Life got relegated last year from the Premier League. And Luton are down. Ipswich and Tranmere survived by the skin of the teeth. Anywhere up to about here. Norwich, really. Maybe Millwall have sort of just scraped through survival. But yeah, so we're playing now. So we can, depending on what Crystal Palace do. Who have Crystal Palace got? Tranmere at home. So Tranmere have got nothing to play for, really. So if Palace, assuming... I mean, we can catch them. We've got a better goal difference than them, I think. No, probably not, actually. No, they've got a much better goal difference than us. So third is out of our reach. So fourth we can potentially look at. And fourth would see us playing Oldham, I think. Because it's fourth versus sixth, third versus fifth, I seem to recall. Certainly that's how it used to be, I'm fairly sure. So without further ado, we'll get into that. And then what will happen is we'll have the playoffs as well. So we're just going to drop the token saving, because I don't think I've saved it actually since we played that last game. Sheffield United, 22nd, as you can see, Tranmere, and West Brom for Leicester. So Leicester need to win that game or even just a draw. We'll give them the title. What are we lining up with? Darren Ferguson's wanted by Tranmere. Who are we going to... I think we're going to go with pretty much... McGregor's still out a week. John DeWolf back soon, a few days. He'll be back for the playoffs. And Thompson has been playing a few games recently. Still probably not as good as what we've got. He's out for about a week. So it'd be good to have them all coming back just in time for the playoffs. But yeah, this game is essentially a nothing game now. I really should have probably rested a few players, because we're probably going to get some injuries in this game, and it was going to hurt our chances in the playoffs. But Ashley Ward, I think that was Ashley Ward, I assume it's Ashley Ward, gives Sheffield United a shock early lead, and they could be surviving here with a win. And obviously, if we finish sixth, we play Crystal Palace, the third best team, in the semi-final, the playoffs, which obviously isn't great. But I mean, historically, the sixth place team do quite often be the team that go up into the Premier League. So it's strange how that has often worked. I don't know about in recent years. I haven't kept an eye on it quite so much. I didn't notice what a draw would do for us, actually. And Atkins has popped up with another goal to give us something in this game, as they go straight up the other end, pretty much. I mean, it's not. It's about 12 minutes later, but it's like a second later in game time. McCarthy should score. Are they going to score again? No, they don't. Stow makes the save. We're holding on, and Southall is obviously player manager here. He's done the impossible. He's kept them up. They sacked Howard Kendall. He's kept them up. It's a bad performance. Both strikers playing fives. I mean, that's just very disappointing. So we are 6th. Palace obviously win. Leicester win the title. Is it Martin O'Neill in charge of them still? It is. So he's still Martin O'Neill there. Emil Heskey didn't really do anything this season. Their main striker was probably Steve Claridge. Mark Robbins doing a few bits. I mean, Heskey is playing. I don't know if it's just because it's the last game or what. I don't know. But yeah, Leicester are champions. Man United actually won the Premier League. I saw the story pop up later. We'll have a look at the Premier League. In fact, we'll have a look at the Premier League now. Previous table. So Man United, yeah, Everton finished 2nd. Oh no. Yeah, they have. They got a game in hand still. Borough 3rd. Arsenal down in 7th. Is it still Bruce Rioch? It is. They signed Trevor Sinclair in the end, who's got relegated from the Premier League. Bolton, QPR and Southampton. So if we don't get out the playoffs, they'll be who's joining us next season. So not a good way for us to finish the season. It's not been confirmed Grimsby are down, but they are. Sheffield United have jumped up to 19th and saved themselves on the last day. So yeah, we secure our playoff place. So that's fantastic. So it should do the draw now as well. Which, like I say, I'm sure it's Crystal Palace. Oh, we've got the FA Cup final as well to deal with first. It's a chance for some silverware. A big game for us. We got Chelsea, obviously, in that final. Yeah, so as we said, we got Crystal Palace. I'm pretty sure it is that way. 1st versus 6th, 4th versus 5th. And the first leg, Palace at home. So we're bringing back Tomoni for the second leg. George Burley resigns as Ipswich Ranger. Don't need to save yet because it's not the game. John DeWolf is back, but he's probably not going to be fit enough for the final. He might make the bench, I think. Yeah, he will. Let's see, any other changes we need to make? Not really. We need a better showing from Leonenko and McCarthy in this game. 2 5s. Not expecting too much out of this game. I mean, it's Chelsea, it's Premier League team. I didn't see where they finished in the league. If you want to go back and have a look and pause it, you can have a look. I think they're in the top 10, certainly. But we need to just be a bit aware that we don't want to get him thumped, especially with the playoffs coming up. We want to be in good morale and good form as we take the lead. And I think it was McCarthy proving me wrong. Getting back to his form, getting back to what he does, scoring goals. And he gives us a 1-0 lead. Now, if we can just hold on for... It's always a penalty when it's our players. I've had a few recently that... Yeah, it's got a penalty and waved away and whatever. But every single one that we foul, it's a penalty. Just pointing way to... and literally 10 minutes later, they take the lead. It's like the first 70 minutes didn't even happen. But 3 minutes later, Leonenko doing the same as McCarthy, proving me wrong, getting the equaliser. So we go into half-time level. I don't know who this Cassiani is. Signed from a club in Colombia. Adrian Williams, signed from Reading. Matt Robinson. I mean, they made some strange signings. Still got Rocky Rocastle there. Arsenal legend. Kick off the second half. Cassiani has been taken off injured. It's a shame it wasn't John Spencer because I can sense he's going to grab his hat-trick. And Atkins gets another goal. He's really amongst the goals. He's really chipping in from essentially defensive midfield position. And don't be sent off. Don't be sent off. Oh my God, he's been sent off. What were the odds? What were the odds? So we're going to take off... I think we're going to take off McCarthy. I think Leonenko's more likely to have a goal in him than him. But with 3-2 up, we just got to hold on here. In fact, we're going to go a little bit more defensive. Oh, it's literally as soon as I do it, they equalise. Was it Terry Phelan? Oh, we have a chance to go 4-3 up, but we don't take it. And 87 minutes, we've got another goal. What is going on? Tony Daly, of all people. Forgotten man of Wolves. Since we've gone back to 4-4-2, he's got himself back in. And since the injury to Thompson, he's got himself back in. He's played a 7 here. He's got his goal. Gavin Peacock playing a 4. I mean, the worst player on the pitch apart from our goalkeeper. I don't know how Corrine's got a 6 and our keeper's got a 3. But, you know, who cares? Steve Balls, he's still wanted by Chelsea. No, he's not wanted anymore. So we've won the FA Cup. So that puts us in the Cup Winners' Cup next year. So we could be in the Cup Winners' Cup. Good bit of money there, which we needed. And not be in the Premier League. So we could be in European competition. Obviously, that was back in the days, the 3 European competitions, the Champions League, the UEFA Cup, and the Cup Winners' Cup, which Arsenal won and then got to the final 2 years. And I remember that very well. We're on to 1.6 million, so we have been gaining a bit of traction with the money, I guess, since we've started performing a bit better and hanging around the playoffs a bit. The crowds, we've had obviously the FA Cup run has combined to that as well, has brought the fans in. So we'll do the token save just to make sure we don't lose that. So we've got the other semi-finals going on at the moment. So Charlton have beaten Oldham 4-1. So it's a real shame we couldn't get that 3rd spot and get Oldham. No, 4th spot even to get Oldham, because they look like a little bit of a walkover in that game. Whereas Palace are going to be anything but. Why are we a day later than everyone else, pretty much? So we are playing today.
As I went to edit this video, I noticed that the footage looked a bit short. Turns out the playoff footage didn't capture as it crashed when saving. Luckily I caught the cup final, but it cut out about 20 minutes into the first game against Crystal Palace. I also lost all my outro, etc. Therefore we will catch up how that went in the next episode that also captures Euro 96. Of course minus any drama that occurred. If by some miracle it saved it to another file that I didn't notice, I will tack that on at the start of the next episode, though I am not hopeful. If you enjoyed, please like the video and drop a sub whilst there. See you next time for Euro 96.